Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the RepPath podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how do I get a $100,000 job in medical sales? What essentially means how do I break into medical sales? Okay, what's the recipe? I'm not going to give you, just a bunch of BS, guys. Going to be straight up with you on teaching you the things that you need to do if you really want to stand out. Okay, so before we get into that, though, guys, as always, if you want to see this recording of the podcast, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Unfiltered Medical Sales Coaching. You can see the link right there. So please click on the link and subscribe because we've got a ton of content that we have in there, but we also have a ton more coming out. So make sure you subscribe, guys. It's 100% free, and you'll be able to see this recording and everything else we come out with. Secondly, we are live today on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're also on every podcast platform out there. And as always, guys, more and more reps for you entry level that are trying to break in or transition into a new job. Please make sure you reach out to me and join the RepPath Academy. So go to my website, reppath.com. You'll see the link right there. Just click on the link. Make sure you go on there. It'll answer a lot of the questions that you guys have. So please go there and check out that section. You'll see the companies that we've already placed people with, and most importantly, the testimonials of candidates that have been placed recently. A lot of them are just like you guys that have struggled. They went to the RepPath Academy, and we gave them the tools to become successful. So please make sure you do that. And other than that, I think that's it, right, James? We're ready to go?
We're ready to go. You nailed it.
Awesome. Always forget something. But all right, guys. So today, very, very important podcast for a lot of you guys out there that are just getting extremely frustrated with this process and you're ready to give up. I was there, okay? I tried years ago. We're going back 25 years. When I first started, it was a disaster. Nobody would respond to me. I couldn't get an interview. I couldn't even get a screen interview from any companies. And then I started changing my process. And that's the whole point, guys, is that you could be doing a lot of things right, but there's so many different things that you need to do if you want to stand out. Just some quick numbers, guys. There are, well, first off, a $100,000 job in medical sales is essentially an entry-level job. So the average rep breaking into the industry, when you include their base and bonus / commissions, is $100,000. It's right around 98,000 is the exact number. Okay, some are going to be a little bit more, some a little less. But you're right at that six-figure number right when you start, day one. Okay, and that doesn't include the car or the car allowance, the cell phone or cell phone allowance, medical, dental, vision, 401k. All that other stuff adds to that $100,000 number. These are great jobs to get, guys. And we're not the only ones that realize that. So does the rest of the country. So it's incredibly competitive. You have to realize. Now, people say it's incredibly competitive. What the hell does that mean? So we have a recruiting branch of RepPath that we get every job that we post. So I'm sure you guys see a lot of my postings of different jobs that we have around the country. Every time I post one of those jobs, within 2 to 3 days, I'll get anywhere from 300 to 500 resumes. It's insane, guys. That's a real number. So I'm not saying that to scare anyone. I'm not saying, guys, it's too competitive, this industry, stay out of it. No, but I am saying, though, you should stay out of it if you're not willing to put the work in and really bust your ass to get into this industry. You're not just giving out jobs to anyone. Everyone has the same response at first that doesn't do their due diligence. They hear from a friend how cool this industry is, that you're working in operating rooms with doctors. You get to talk to doctors. There's patients' lives on the line. You get to talk doctors into different prescribing habits based on, the conversations you have. Get them to treat patients with your medical device. Have conversations with patients too. So these are great, great features about the job, and that's why a lot of people want to get into it. But you got to realize, again, that with that level of competitiveness, you have to do whatever it takes to stand out. Okay. And that's what we're going to go over today. All right. So first and foremost, we're going to start with two key things. Number one, your resume. Excuse me. Now, this isn't a full resume optimization call. Obviously, we don't have enough time to go through each thing. But one of the key things, and all your resumes are different. So I'm just going to generalize a lot of the issues that I see that you guys don't do. The reps that are struggling to break in, this is the same formula that you guys have, and I'm going to tell you what to do to fix it. You give a very generic resume. Okay. So, number one, when you give your resume and you put at the top, when you put your name, your phone number, your email address, your address. You don't need to put your actual address. Just put your city and state. That's fine. But if I do suggest that you all put your LinkedIn profile, okay, make sure you put that link in there because trust me, every company, they're going to check out your LinkedIn profile. It's not like years ago where people didn't really know about LinkedIn as much. So once in a while, they'll check it out just to see if you have anything in there, learn more about you. Now it's an absolute must. Every single time, they're going to go from your resume to your LinkedIn profile. Most of you guys don't even have a good picture, a professional picture on your LinkedIn profile. Not Aunt Susan's wedding where you look good in the picture, or you're out with your buddies and you look skinny, or you're tan in one picture. I mean, I see all this shit, guys. Believe me, I do this stuff too, where we all like certain pictures of ourselves. That's not the time for your LinkedIn profile. This is a professional site where other professionals are going to be reaching out. Save those pictures for Facebook, Instagram, whatever the heck else, other social media accounts. Use those pictures for that. This isn't a dating site. This is a professional site that they're going to go on. So go out, spend a couple of dollars, and get a professional headshot done with the suit and tie on. Okay, at the very least, business casual, but don't have the wedding picture or any of that stuff, guys. Go out and spend a few dollars, because if you don't, that's fine. Your competition is. And that's something that we all can do tomorrow, and especially put a picture up at the very least, because some of you don't have pictures up. That's a must now, guys. So get that picture up. Also, you have to make sure your LinkedIn profile matches your resume identical. Okay, you don't want to have any jobs that are on your resume and not on your LinkedIn profile, or vice versa. If you see that, trust me, it's going to be a red flag, and you're going to get overlooked. So we're not going to get all into the LinkedIn optimization today, but just that simple thing, guys. Make sure your LinkedIn information and you have a professional headshot on your profile. Those two things are going to help you right off the bat. All right. Now let's get back to the resume. Many of you fall into the big pile of generic, daily activities. You guys load your resumes with daily activities. Nobody gives a shit about daily activities in your resume. Okay, so now for instance, if you've been at XYZ sales company for the past 3 years, and then you're talking about in your, after your sales representative from this date to that date for XYZ company, and then you get into what you did there, and everything is a daily activity. Collaborated with the marketing team, held presentations to business owners throughout the Northeast. Like, guys, those are daily activities. That's what every sales rep does. Implemented excellent territory management skills, or whatever the heck nonsense you guys, don't put that in there. I want to see results. It's all about your results. So when you get into each job, 2 quick tips. Number one, give 1 sentence that answers 3 questions, because some of you give 5, 6 sentences about the company, about where it's located, about how many employees there are, all that stuff. No one cares about that, guys. They know how to use Google. I want to know what you did there, and I want to know concisely, because again, everything is a representation of how you sell. This whole process from now until you get a job is one big sales call. And I'm going to show you the correlations. And that's what they're looking for, guys. All these hiring managers, all these companies, it doesn't matter who you're speaking with. Always realize that this is a sales call and you're being graded. It may seem like another rep from the company you're talking to is just having a quick conversation with you and not really giving it much time, much thought. You don't put your guard down, guys. Remember, they're going to go back, or you always assume they're going back to talk to that manager and give a report. So you always have to be on your toes. But the two quick tips. Number one, give one sentence under each role that you have, answering three questions. What did you sell? Who did you sell to? And where? So responsible for, cardiac medical device sales to cardiologists and electrophysiologists in the Boston territory. That's it. What did I sell? Cardiac devices or cardiac instruments. I sold to cardiology. Who did I sell to? Cardiologists and electrophysiologists. Where? Boston. Because when a recruiter, first thing they do and look at your resume, the first thing they're going to do is type in the city of where the opening is and the specialty, cardiology. So you want to make sure you have those two pieces of information in there. And if it's not a sales role, because that's specific to a sales background, somebody that don't have those backgrounds, still sum up what you do there in one sentence. It shouldn't be a couple sentences. If you have to give a second sentence, okay. But really just make it one sentence. All right. And then underneath that, that's where we get to results. And the results in a sales role, any sales experience, because a lot of you have good sales experience, but you don't express it in your resume. Again, I don't know that, McCullen's, hardware is a hardware store. I don't know if they sell cars. I don't know if they sell cell phones. I have no idea. Right. And I don't want to do the research to find it out. I don't have time. I got all these resumes, and the ATS system, when you send it in and the applicant tracking system is parsing some of the words, that thing is not going to parse through all the nonsense that you put in there. They just want to get to the point. Okay, so give that one sentence of what you did there because we want to focus on your results. And results mean four things. Number one, rankings. They care what you're ranked. And if you are ranked number 2, don't just say rank number 2. Say rank number 2 out of 50. Give us the total number because, again, guys, hiring managers aren't stupid. Recruiters aren't stupid. If you say rank 2 and just leave it there, are you ranked 2 out of 2? Are you ranked 2 out of 5? Are you ranked 2 out of 2,000? Who knows? But obviously, they're going to assume if you just put rank 2, it's probably not out of that many people. So especially the more people you're ranked out of, you want to put that in there because that only helps you. So ranking is very important. Number 2, percent to quota. Percent to quota is universal. That's why this is important, guys. Okay, a lot of you like to put in your resumes, generated 1.8 million in blah, blah, blah revenue. Okay, that sounds good, but I don't know what the heck that means. If you don't give me any other parameters or, I don't know exactly what that means into the rest of the company. So everyone else could be doing 5 million in sales and you're only doing 1.7. So the reason why quota is important because they know that you were giving a quota, you were given a goal, and you hit your goal. That's all they care about. Achieved 110% the plan in Q4 of 2023, right? That's just a simple bullet that shows a result. That's what they care about. Okay, you were given a challenge and you hit that challenge. You got a quota and you hit that. So quotas are very important because it's universal. A recruiter sees that, a hiring manager sees that. Okay, this person drives results. That person makes things happen. So quotas, very important to put in there. Percent to plan, it's very important to put in there. Number 3 is growth. So month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year, I need to see you're growing. Grew 150%, from Q1 to Q4, of 2023. However you want to phrase it, but make it known that you got a position and you were able to grow that because that's what they want you to do there. Okay. And lastly, our awards. President's Clubs, Rep of the Year, Rep of the Month, whatever that is, get your awards in there, guys. Okay. And for a lot of you that are going to tell me you're in a sales role and say, Joe, my company didn't keep track of that. Don't want to hear it, guys. Go to your company today, and start getting the information or start tracking it yourself. If you made 1 sale in your first month and you made 2 in your second month, you grew 100%. All right. So that you could do it yourself, guys. So don't make that excuse. If you're in a sales role and you're not keeping track of your sales, if your company's not doing it, no one else is going to do it for you, guys. So do it yourself, but get that data into your resume. Okay. And for a lot of you that are going to tell me you're in a sales role and you're not keeping track of your sales, if your company's not doing it, no one else is going to do it for you, guys. So do it yourself, but get that data into your resume. It's extremely, extremely important. All right. So those two things, guys, just start with those two things. If you want to learn more about optimizing your resume, please, again, go to our website, look at the questions, read up more about the RepPath Academy, and sign up today because we're going to cover this and everything else you need to break in. But that's just a quick little snippet because a lot of you guys make those two mistakes. So we want to make sure you're getting that in there, and fixing that right away because it's going to help you stand out. Okay. So that's, it in terms of what we're going to cover today on your resume. Okay. Another huge, huge thing that many of you don't do correctly, and that's networking and applying to roles. So a lot of you young guys out there that are learning about the industry, it's great to call reps up and learn more about the industry. Good for you. You should be doing that. Do everything you can to learn as much as possible. But if this is your tactic to get a job, that doesn't work. You could talk to a rep. You literally can book calls day and night from now to the rest of your life and still not talk to a fraction of all the reps that are out there on LinkedIn. And they're going to give you their points of view, and that's great, but you're going to waste time. So don't consume yourself with just learning about the industry. Number one, focus where there is a job opening. Start there. Now, you'll hear other coaches say, well, the key is to know before the opening happens. Yeah, of course. Now, if you guys know that, that's a great situation you're in. But most of us don't have a crystal ball. So I want you to start at least where the opening is. And then that's when you network, you apply to that role. Number one, you got to be a fit for that role. So if it asks for a bachelor's degree and you don't have one, don't apply to that job. There's other roles out there that will take someone with an associate's. So don't start there because you're only going to get frustrated. They got too many candidates, guys, that apply. Okay. I have candidates literally for miles that I can review every day that are good, solid candidates. I don't need to go to another candidate that's not even qualified for their big requirements because the companies are going to get mad at us and say, Joe, why are you sending me people when I specifically asked for a bachelor's degree and you're sending me people that don't have it? So same thing with you guys. If you're getting frustrated, look at the requirements. Read the requirements, okay? Read all the requirements. And then if you don't meet at least 50 to 60%, at the very minimum 50, I would like to see literally either 60 or 70% of the requirements met before you apply to a job because you're only going to get yourself frustrated. You can apply to everything, guys. But my goal is to minimize the frustration and be more focused to the jobs that you're actually qualified for, and then networking tenaciously. So number one, let me back up. You see a job that you're meeting at least half the requirements, okay? That's a great sign. Now, what I want you to do, instead of just sending your resume, which a lot of you guys do, stop doing this. Joe, I'm interested. And I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, okay? Or Joe, I'm interested in the San Diego position you posted today on LinkedIn. Okay, I know what you're talking about, but why are you a fit? Right? Now, I can't jump on a call with everyone that just sends me their resume. I don't have the time, guys. Nobody does. We have a team. We don't have the time to do that all day. So make it easier for the recruiter because if you make it easier for the recruiter will make it easier for the hiring manager. And that's how people get noticed. My job as a recruiter with our recruiting end of the business is to make hiring managers' jobs easier. You can't just send them every resume and not give them a little synopsis of why you're a fit. I got to give that in an email, guys, to say why you're a fit before they even entertain anyone. So do the same for the recruiter. So when you get those lists of requirements, and sometimes there's 2 or 3, there could be 10 of them. All right, so say out of the 10, cut and paste. As you send your resume to the recruiter, cut and paste in the body of the email, put those requirements, and then in a different color or a bullet point, indentation underneath, whatever you want to do, but answer why you're a fit and not a long paragraph, guys. If it asks for a 4-year degree, yes, I have a 4-year degree from Boston University. Done. Bachelor's in communications, whatever your major is. Quick and simple. Bullet point those answers. Because the more that you meet, the recruiter's going to go, oh, this is perfect. Now all I got to do is send this resume. They're going to cut and paste that same thing that you put in there and send it to the hiring manager. Now it made everyone's life easier. These are simple little tips, guys, that very few reps do. They like to start off with, and this is another, key, another tip that if you're doing this, odds are that's not the right position to apply to. If you start off with the sentence when you're sending it out to a recruiter, sending a resume to a recruiter for an opening, Joe, while I do not have XYZ experience, I make up for it with adjective, 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 adjective. Guys, I will guarantee you recruiters are literally clicking and going to the next candidate. You outright said, Joe, I'm not a fit. That's it. Once you said, while I don't have this, you're not a fit. So stop opening that way. It's a absolute red flag, and it's going to get you ignored, right? And also it tells you if that's going to be your opening sentence, while I don't do this, I make up for it with all these other things that you didn't ask for. And just think about that. Imagine going to get go to a pizzeria and you're asking for a plain slice, and they go, Joe, while I don't have that, I have this hot dog for you. Here you go, and then charging you for it. You're like, that's not what I asked for. You're not even listening to me. So it's the same thing, guys. It's frustrating for recruiters, and I'm not trying to be tough on you guys out there. I'm just trying to help you guys stop getting ghosted, because these little tips will help your resume get noticed more. All right, so make sure you're doing that when you're reaching out to recruiters. Don't listen to all the hype about AI and how when I send a resume, the reason why I'm not getting noticed is because the AI systems in the ATS and the applicant tracking systems are kicking out my resume or making it so it's not recognized. Guys, that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. What an ATS does, what an applicant tracking system does, it saves your resume and then parses it. So by parsing it, I mean it breaks it up into searchable words. So when I put in cardiologist, when I put in New Jersey, again, it's going to recognize that in whoever's resume, and their resume is going to pop up. But a lot of you guys like to just take the same words in a job posting, a lot of the adjectives, and think that if I just change my resume to those adjectives, I'm going to get recognized. Guys, that's just dumb. Because just think of that. Someone can work their whole career, and the only reason why they're getting recognized is because a couple of adjectives match what it says in the job posting. That makes no sense. So while these systems help us, parse resumes and do those things, again, there's some human being that's actually reading a resume and seeing if it meets up to what the hiring managers want. So again, make sure, read the requirements and cut and paste, and then list real quickly why you're a fit. And you're going to get more responses. I guarantee you that. All right. So now let's move forward with networking. All right. Networking. Guys, this is if there is one silver bullet, I mean, there isn't, there's a million things, but one of the most important things is networking. Now, like we were saying before, stop networking just to network. Stop getting on calls with people that have no job opening. They're in the industry, which is great. But if there's nothing there, stop wasting your time with these people. Start with the opening first. So if we have an opening at Medtronic that they're looking for an entry-level associate role, okay, so now we're reading the requirements, and we're going to do exactly what we said. We're going to put bullets on why you're a fit based on those requirements, and then you're going on LinkedIn, and then you're finding reps that work in that division for that hiring manager that you're trying to get the interview with. So you're looking up the hiring manager, whoever manages the Boston area of the CRM division of Boston Scientific, and then you're looking at all the reps that work for that person. You want to get on minimum 3 phone calls with at least 3 different reps before you meet with that manager, okay? Because right now you don't even have an interview set. So again, they got all these resumes that are coming in. You did the right thing by at least applying to jobs that you are a fit. But a lot of you go, nah, I never hear back. Or I get that automated message. Oh, Joe, I tried reaching out to a couple of people. One guy got back to me. All right, guys, well, how many times did you reach out to those people? How aggressive were you? Because I can tell you now, guys, The guys in the RepPath Academy, I have studs that are tenacious with this. They do not, just because they gave one, inbox or shot an email or whatever they did to try to connect with someone, they are more vigilant. They're going to do it multiple times. So don't let that person, they ignore you once. It's the same as a doctor. And trust me, again, this is what I talked about at the beginning, how everything here is a sales call. It resembles, it's a complete, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but it mimics exactly what you would do for a sales call. So just like you call on your doctors, you call on them once and go, oh, sorry, man, I tried, but he didn't answer he didn't answer my email. So I'm going to cross that doctor off. Never. You're going to keep calling that doctor. So until these reps tell you, hey, man, stop reaching out to me. I don't care about you. You're annoying, and I will never get on the phone with you. It's never going to happen, guys. But until they come out and say, please stop reaching out to me, keep reaching out to them because you have to get them on the phone. Okay, because what makes reps win is finding out information that you can't Google or ChatGPT. That's the gold, guys. That's gold information. And you only get that from talking to the reps that work there. The reps can give you, you could look up, what it's like to day in the life or see those, stupid videos that people put on Instagram again, showing off how good they look in scrubs and how they're making their protein shakes in the morning at 5 a.m., proving to people how early they get up. I mean, no one cares about that, guys. That doesn't impress anyone. All right. That gets clicks, a couple likes on Instagram, but hiring managers don't care about that. Now, when you talk about something that's real insightful about the struggles and challenges that you're going to face in this role because you spoke to reps and you're already thinking of a game plan or you're thinking and telling them, well, this is exactly what I had to face with challenging customers in my last role. And this is how I overcame that. Now you become very interesting because number one, it shows the work that you put in to make these phone calls. It shows that you were asking the right questions to find out about what really goes on. And then most importantly, how you were able to provide solutions to that because you've done it in your past. Now you're someone that I want on my team. Excuse me. But the only way to do this, guys, is by speaking to the reps. I don't care if it's another manager. I don't care if it's a marketing person. But ideally, you want to start with those reps, but have as many conversations as possible because you're gonna take down those notes, and you're also going to let that hiring manager know when you get in the interview when they say, you don't want to say I always outwork everyone. Those are just words. Now you're going to say I always outwork everyone, just like I did in this process, just like I did when I spoke to 80 of your reps and I learned XYZ. I worked, with the RepPath Academy, whoever coach you want to use, whatever that is. These are all things that you're going above and beyond to stand out from the crowd. They want to hear that, guys. Trust me, because they're saying, wow, if he's going to do all this, then what kind of effort he's going to give once I get him in the field? This is the type of person I want. You could be great, guys, and have a great resume with great experience. Trust me, even individuals in your shoes, when you get beat out by someone with less experience, these are the things they're doing. They're showing that they want it more, and they're going to outwork you. Don't think, even for some of you experienced people, just because you have experience and you're a good fit, sometimes they're seeing how how much you want this. Sometimes the older, more experienced rep, yeah, they're great. They got great experience. Sometimes they get a little tired too. They might. I know sometimes I had great candidates. They get in the interview like they already won, and they're not giving much of an effort. I don't want them on my team. I could think they're going to just get this job and then look to cruise. I don't want that. I want a hunter. And those individuals that are doing all that, they're the ones that are going to get the offers. So networking this way is key because the goal is when it comes to what kind of information you're trying to find out, it's as much as possible. You want to know as much about the key drivers of that hiring manager. What do they like? What do they dislike? What's something that, gets them, upset in an interview? And what's something that really, they like to see? What do they like? What kind of employee do they like in the field? What are some of the things that you can do? Because even though you don't have the job yet, you're going to talk about your previous experiences and how you've done that in the past. And that's going to be a light bulb in that person's head, because it shows that you try to find out what they like, and then you're going to go out and show them how you did that in your past and explain that to them in the interview. Huge, guys. And for those of you that come in with 30, 60, 90s, you've heard me say this on many podcasts. 30, 60, 90s are dog shit. Okay? Mean nothing to me unless you find out the information like you're going to be doing during this process when you're speaking to reps that can create, you get me like specific info. For instance, if I'm going for that, that Boston territory, and now I'm speaking to reps and they're like, well, Joe, the key hospitals are Mass General, Boston Medical Center, Tufts, and here are the key physicians. Dr. Smith, he's one of the big guys you're going to want to see at Tufts. Dr. Johnson, he's the chief of cardiology, and Dr. Jones is the chief of surgery at Mass General. You've got to get in front of them. So then you get all this info that's specific to this actual role, and now you make it into a 30, 60, 90. If you're going to do training in the first 30 days, you want to just say complete company training. That's generic. Now what if you say, work with, training director Liz Thompson, and they know that Liz Thompson is the actual training director at Medtronic. Obviously, she's not. I just made up these names. But now you have that into your presentation, into your 30, 60, 90. Now it's like, wow, this guy really found out everything. He really did his homework. Again, that's appealing to a hiring manager. So 30, 60, 90s don't mean anything, but they could be very valuable if you put the information in that's actionable. So if you can really put enough info where you get that info, that 30, 60, 90, and then the hiring manager sends it out to the hiring manager can actually use this to make an actionable plan where a rep can go into the field and actually apply this approach, and it can work. That's an amazing 30, 60, 90. Doesn't have to be exact, guys. Again, just show that you put the effort in. No one really expects anyone to be able to do something in phone calls that a rep that's been there for a year, they're obviously going to be able to create a better plan. But just show the effort. Show that you're taking it the next step. Because again, guys, this competition, they're doing all the things that you think you need to do. Take it another level. Show them that you really want this. Because a lot of you guys out there might be saying, I don't know if I want to do all this work just to break in here. Then great, guys. Don't apply. Get another industry. This is not the one for you. The ones that tell me, Joe, I'll do whatever it takes. I want this so bad. When I get that, then I get excited to work with those people. Those are the people that I know that hiring managers are going to love. They're the ones that they want to work with. But the ones that are half-assed, like, yeah, I'm interested. I think I'd be really good at it. And, my one friend said I'm a good salesman, so I think this would be good for me. Guys, no. This would be something when you're coming, you really want this. You got to want it and nothing else. Because again, the competition will eat you up. All right. So I'm going to pause here because we're getting a little bit past halfway through. James, just checking to see if we have any questions from anyone in the crowd.
We do, Joe. Let's see. If you got other things to talk about, it's your show. You can keep it going. Joe, I live in a small town in Ohio. Do I have to move to a big city to make real money?
No. It's that simple. You can make money at any territory, anywhere around the country. The only difference between small cities and big cities, there's going to be more opportunities, more medical sales jobs in those bigger cities, like any other field. But it does not matter. They don't pay the New York City reps more. They used to, which one point I will add because that is a good question they used to have pay increases, cost of living increases, depending on where you lived. But most companies have done away with that. If it's a national, rep hiring, they're going to offer the same amount of money. They might pay a little more based on experience, but they're not going to pay more usually because you live in a big city and you have more expenses. So nope, you can work anywhere and still do really well. It doesn't matter, small or big city.
I've applied to about 50 medical sales jobs and haven't heard back from any of them. What am I doing wrong?
Number one, you gotta see if you're actually qualified for those jobs you're applying to. I mean, I used to think years ago, apply to anywhere and everyone, and hopefully someone's going to notice you. That technique worked years ago. Now there's too much information online. There's too many resumes flying all over the place. So you will get ignored forever. So the good thing that you should do is recognize and stop thinking things are going to change on its own. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Eventually, someone's going to get back to me. Nope. They can ignore you forever. So make sure that you recognize it first, that what you're doing isn't working. You might not know what you're doing wrong. That's what we're here for. But to recognize I have to change. And that's why I did a post either today or yesterday where you have to realize that if it's not working, you've got to change, because that's the only way that changes are going to happen. They're not just going to happen by you just keep pushing forward. So odds are, if you're not even getting a callback, you're applying to jobs you're not qualified for, or your resume needs a lot of work. Those are usually the first two indicators. And then if you're not getting interviews, if you're getting interviews, but now you're not getting job offers, then we know that it's something else in between, or most importantly, what you're saying in those interviews. So you need to work on your interview prep. But at the beginning, it's mostly people apply to jobs they're not qualified for. They don't do a good job networking. They reach out to a couple people and they don't really give that extra effort that's needed. And then also the resume itself.
Everyone says network, but how? I don't know anyone in the industry.
Yeah, most people don't. So, I mean, that's what LinkedIn's for, guys. So start with that job opening. Go on LinkedIn, go on whatever, Indeed or whatever the heck you're using. A lot of the people that, I see that find success are finding the jobs on LinkedIn, but wherever you see an opening online, when you do that search and see an opening at whatever company, start there and that's your basis point. That's like the hub, and then branch out from there. So if this company in this division has an opening, then I'm going to start speaking to the people that work at that company in that division. Start there. That's your network. Because, if I know 100 reps that all don't work at that company, and I grew up with all these sales reps, it doesn't really mean anything. If they don't have openings, what are they going to do for you? They could educate you on the industry. Yeah, that's great, but you only need a few of those conversations to get a good understanding. You want to focus on those reps where the opening is, because they're the ones that are going to help you get in. That's real networking. Networking isn't just having conversations with people. That's just busy work. That you can do. That's like coffee talk or whatever you want to talk. Just, talking at a water cooler. It's not going to do anything. I want to network. Real networking involves me getting a job. And I want to network with the people that can help me do that. So start there.
How much of the job is actually being in surgeries versus doing paperwork and admin stuff?
It depends. So some are there's some jobs that you're in the operating room all day long, and then there's some that you could be in there maybe, half your day or 20% of your time, or maybe not at all. And you have a great clinical team that's covering your cases all the time. So it really does depend. But I will tell you this, one thing that is universal, actual selling time, because a lot of reps will say, Joe, I don't want to be in the OR. I just want to sell. Yeah, no shit. So does everyone else. No one loves sitting in operating rooms hour after hour, when, sometimes it gets boring. Sometimes you also, there's a lot of challenges and things happen. You're not selling the whole time, even though you do have opportunities to sell in the OR, but the actual selling time is probably only about 10% of your day that you're actually talking to doctors, talking to clinicians, or anyone else in the offices, selling your product. The majority of your day is, if you're in med device, in operating rooms, if you're in pharma, it could just be traveling from office to office. I mean, that's the majority of a pharma rep's day. They go from office to office. Majority of their time is car time, right? And then they'll do a lunch here, a breakfast there, which will take up maybe a half hour, an hour, maybe a little bit longer. But they can't do that every single day, every breakfast and lunch. You don't have the budgets for that. So the majority of the time is popping in and out. You're doing your driving, your windshield time, and then you're also going to come home and do your admin, which is, depending on how much admin your company gives you, is a good portion of each of your day, because they're going to want you to at least record your calls. If you have your expense account, any expenses, anything with any initiatives that they come out where you get all these Excel spreadsheets, they want you to collect whatever data, so, but at the end of the day, it's very hard. It could be, back to your original question, it could be as much as 75% of your day in the operating room, and then it could be no operating room time. So it really depends on that job.
I got rejected after a final round interview last week, and they wouldn't tell me why. How do I improve if they won't give me feedback?
And that's a frustrating part of this business. Again, the best way you could do that is working with the RepPath Academy, because we're going to tell you, because we're going to go over, we're going to train you before those calls, make sure you're ready, and then afterwards we're going to regroup, and I want to learn what you said on the call, and then we're going to be able to diagnose. Okay, I have a good idea that this may have been a reason, or that may have been the reason. Our goal is to help you improve each time. Sometimes you get a good gut feeling on some of your answers, or based on some of the things that they said where they give a clue. But a lot of times they don't give feedback. And as frustrating as it is, guys, sometimes there is a reason. They get dictated a lot by human resources. Some of the bigger companies, they can open themselves up to legality issues if they give you too much feedback that could kind of bite them in the butt later on. So they usually are very generic. It'll be an automated response. Or if you do get time, sorry, Joe, you did everything great. We just moved in another direction. Or there was some other individual that just had a little bit more with what we're looking for, but they're not going to tell you exactly. And that's very frustrating, but I would also try your best if the hiring manager is not getting back to you, whichever recruiter you spoke to, see if they can find out, because the recruiters are going to have a better relationship. And sometimes the hiring manager say, hey, you know what, Joe, I really liked him, but he was a little too green. Just didn't have, some of his answers were just not polished enough, or he really did everything right, but he went up against someone that has 10 years of experience in the exact therapeutic area that we're looking for. And so they have too many relationships that we just can't ignore. But speak to that recruiter too. But at the end of the day, guys, don't kill yourselves, wondering why you didn't get that job. Move on. That's it. The answer is you didn't get the job. So something didn't work. You're just going to keep going though. So you're not going to get the answer every time, but those are all the resources that can help you.
We have two similar questions. Do I have to hit quota every single month, or do companies give some grace period? And what happens if I miss quota? Do I get fired? So kind of the same question.
Yeah, you're not going to get fired for missing your quota 1 month. You may not even get fired for not hitting your quota for the whole year. I mean, sometimes shit happens, guys, and you could be doing everything right and you just don't hit that quota, because even hiring managers know that they sometimes get hit with quotas. Because don't forget, you're not hitting your quota. Odds are, a bunch of reps on that team don't hit the quota. That means the hiring that district manager or regional manager is not hitting their quota. So, but you don't want to think that way. Okay, I will say this, that you want to go into every month, every quarter, every year that you want to crush quota. I always had a goal of always being at least 25, 30% over quota. You want to shoot high, but not too high where it's unrealistic. But sometimes companies do come out with unrealistic goals, and that's frustrating. And again, they have to do it for whatever financial reasons, whatever motivations they have, but sometimes it doesn't align with reality. And those aren't companies that you're going to want to be at too long, because you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be making your bonus dollars. The money typically isn't there if you keep missing your quota. It's something that, you want to bring up to your team, your manager, whoever that is. But odds are, guys, if you're in one of those situations, it's probably not going to last long. the majority of companies out there set realistic goals. You want to go in though with the mentality, I'm going to hit it every time. Because some companies, again, it could be a couple months in a row, they could put you on a PIP if you're not hitting your number. Right? And that's bad. A PIP is a performance improvement plan. That means that they're going to be watching you. And usually when you're on a PIP, they make your life miserable because they make you fill out all these extra reports, have extra coaching calls, doing things where you feel like, oh man, I don't want to deal with all this. So a lot of reps quit once they're on a PIP because they don't want to deal with the micromanaging that's going to happen at that point. But go in every job about wanting to be the best, wanting to crush your number. And you got to follow it up with that effort, because you don't want to be in that situation. Every company's different. They could fire you quickly, but it's not something that, I don't want to create a scare that you don't hit a number 1 quarter or 1 month, you're going to get fired. Odds are you're not, guys. The whole point is they want to see that you continually grow, continually improve. And if you're doing that, you're more than likely going to have, a longer career at that company.
Joe, I'm 45 and thinking about making a career change. Will companies even look at me, or do they want young people?
They'll definitely look at you. It depends on what you bring to the table. So the key is for individuals coming from another industry, you have to really show your transferable skills. And a lot don't do a good job of that. The ones that struggle don't do a good job of really showing their transferable skills. And that doesn't mean, guys, like, I'm a hard worker because I worked my butt off at my last company. No, this is where knowing about this industry and really having an understanding of what it takes. So if you say, I'm good with people, I was good at my last company with people, doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, so is everyone else. But now if you tell me, I know one of the key problems that you face in this industry is access. Access is a big problem that's gotten worse and worse over the years, especially in the hospital space. My last position, I also dealt with access issues, but I was able to overcome it by doing X, Y, Z. And that's why I was able to get time with my customers where normally individuals in my business weren't able to get through the door. So I'm going to take those same access solutions and do that same thing here, blah, blah, blah. Now that's someone that I'm like, wow, this person did their homework. That is something that I can understand. Okay. And again, James, I got one for you. I know we used it in the past, but this is perfect. My cousin Vinny.
Great movie.
Remember when he's talking about when Mona Lisa Vito's on the stand, and then she looks to the jury and says, everyone knows that when your car gets stuck in the mud in Alabama,
Yep.
And they all start, like nodding their heads like, oh yeah, she's right. And then it was like a moment because she hit something that was real, that only if you grew up in Alabama, you know what it's like to get mud in your tires. And then they started listening. And that was, they were like, wow, that's true. It's the same thing with these doctors. It's the same thing, with these hiring managers. When you really show them that, like, that's something that they really face, not generic, I'm a people person, I'm good with customers. No, that's nonsense, guys. You got to go and dig deeper. And that's where, when you have those conversations with the reps, they're going to say, well, this is the real situation. Because you're going to look up stuff online and be like, I heard your competition is Boston Scientific and Abbott. And you're like, well, yeah, but actually our real competition is access, or our real competition is contracting. Then you go in there with you show them that you really know what's going on and now provide a real solution. Now that's someone I want to hire. So that's the key, guys. Show those transferable skills if you're coming from somewhere else, but it's also have a real understanding of what's going on at that company, that you're going to be able to provide solutions and show that you've done that in your past. You're going to overcome that being 45 or whatever, 55, doesn't matter. You'll be able to overcome all that, because a lot of young reps, again, typically they come with less life experiences too. So they're green sometimes. There's some studs, no matter old, young, whatever. But a lot of times those younger reps, doesn't mean just because they're younger, they're going to get the job over you. So especially if you got an interview, guys, they recognize something in your background that they like. You have an opportunity just as good as everyone else if you're in that interview phase. So make sure you're showing those transferable skills and everything we talked about to take advantage of that.
So what if I have a DUI from like 8 years ago? Does that kill my chances?
It could, depends on the company. If you're going to be given a company car, odds are yes. So a lot of times pharma companies, and again, this is different for every situation, but generally pharma companies, you get a car, device companies, you get a car allowance. So depending on the company, more than likely, if you're getting a car allowance, you're paying for the insurance, they don't care. They're not going to do as big of a background check. Some still do, even if they're not paying for your insurance. They're going to give you an allowance. They could still see that on your background and say, no, I'm sorry, and pull the offer. So the best thing to do, guys, is not get a DUI, not get a DWI. Again, if you're going to go out drinking, I'm not here to preach to anyone. Take Uber so you can avoid all that, because you don't want to be in that situation. Because one thing I will guarantee you, if you do have a DUI or DWI in your background, you definitely decreased a lot of opportunities that now you're not going to be able to even apply to. So just don't put yourself in that situation.
Is it possible to make 200 to 300K, or do you eventually cap out?
Well, no, 100%. You could definitely easily make 300K. The real stats, again, the average rep makes about 172,000. That's the average, combining med device, pharmaceutical sales, everything, every med tech sales combined out there. The average is 172,000. Now, that means a lot of people are above it, a lot of people are below that. But the 300 plus crowd is about 7%. So you're going to hear people that make 4, 5, 600,000, some $1 million. It's very rare. The bulk of high performers are in that 2 to 300 range. That's the high performer range. You're going to hear a lot of those high performers are in that range. That's the reality. So you can easily make 200. 300 is getting more and more difficult, more and more unique, but it's definitely possible.
Joe, I was in the military for 6 years instead of going to college. Is that going to hurt me if they require a college degree?
Yes. There's companies that love military backgrounds. So it depends on the company. If they're asking for a 4-year degree and it's a must-have, which the majority of the companies that are asking for it, it's not something that they have wiggle room with, then simply just don't apply to those companies, because there are a ton of companies out there, guys, that love military backgrounds. But if you don't have a college degree, one piece of advice that I will give you guys, because a lot do, they apply to pharma and device like it's the same thing. Guys, it's not. I've never worked with a pharma company that said, Joe, if they have a 4-year degree, that's a plus, but if not, that's fine. No, majority of pharma companies want a 4-year degree, and they even want a year of B2B sales experience before they even look at resume. That's pharma. So don't focus there if that's what your background is. Focus on those device and those distribution companies. So if you work for a company like, whatever the ton of Arthrex, ComMed, there's a lot that will hire reps right out of college, or some that will say, you know what, I don't care if they have a college degree. I love the way this person presented themselves. I love their background. They got a great sales background. They have a great mentality, great work ethic. I want them on our team. The reason being, because a lot of distributions, there's a lot of mom and pop companies out there that don't care about that. So the bigger you get with a company, odds are they're going to want that degree, that more experience. A lot of the smaller companies, they're not handcuffed by HR as much, so they're more willing to hire people without all that experience. So the key takeaway, though, if you don't have a college degree, don't make pharma your primary search point. You want to start with device and distribution.
I just accepted a role starting in 3 weeks. What should I be doing right now to prepare so I don't look like an idiot day one?
You got the job. So you won that audition. The interview phase is over. Okay. They like you. You won. You got it. So don't be so, paranoid about what should I do so I look great on day one. Now they're going to train you specifically for that role. Okay, so I appreciate people's effort once they get the job to keep doing research, keep trying to find and learn more so they can really hit the ground running on day one. But guys, and this is the time to enjoy the process is over, relax a little bit, get yourself prepared, do whatever research you have, meet with those reps, maybe take those reps out for a cup of coffee that are on your team to get to know everyone better. That's a great idea. But don't worry about doing all this extra research. They're going to train you and train you and train you that the little side extra effort that you're going to give at that point is going to be, a drop in the bucket compared to how much training you're going to get over the next couple of months. So meet with those reps, build relationships with your team members, introduce yourself to individuals on the team so they know you. I'd rather see you do that than sit home and just research products all day. It's better to get to know the people that you're working with.
How do you explain a short tenure at your current sales job without looking like a job hopper?
Well, again, it depends on your reasoning, your rationale. When people have too many job hops on their resume, unfortunately, it doesn't look good because a lot of companies don't want to see that. Unfortunately, it's more and more prevalent because companies do go out of business. Because there are a lot of layoffs. There's the challenges that happen that are outside your control. The key is no matter what that challenge was, you don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. If you catch yourself, and a lot of you do this, you justify like what that little blip was too long. And don't do that. Now you got me thinking as a hiring manager, like why is he like you could tell, guys, when you're in a lot of these interviews that something's up and that's a red flag. I mean, I had a call the other day with a gentleman and I'm like, listen, you could be honest with me. I'm not hiring you. I'm here to coach you. Why did you really, lose that job? Because this sounds like bullshit. I straight up said it to him. And he goes, you're right. He goes, I actually, because it was poor performance. I'm like, okay, well, don't say that answer that you've been giving me because you've been lying to me. There's a way to quickly just move on. And that's the key. You want to focus on your accolades, on your accomplishments, on your strategies. And then the little blips in the radar that we all have. No one's perfect. You want to quickly move past that, address it and move on. Yeah, unfortunately, I was only there a year because of challenges with management and they were moving in a different direction that I didn't think was the right direction for me. But that's why, after I left there, it was the best thing that ever happened because this opportunity, this is the place that I want to be or whatever that is, but quickly move on. Don't keep, talking about issues because it only makes the interview go south from there.
And the last one I got for you, do I need a job at Stryker or Medtronic, or can you make 100K at a smaller company too?
100% can make 100K at many companies. So those are outstanding companies. Stryker and Medtronic are phenomenal companies, but they're not the only two companies out there, guys. So it's 100,000, as we all know, it could be a great living to a lot of people, but more and more, when I started, the average rep, I think they paid me, I know this sounds, I'm really giving up my age, but it was the early 2000s. They started me out. I think I got a extra couple of thousand that I fought for during the interview process. And I think I got up to like 42,000. They hired me. And then I got another 20 in bonuses. So I was at like 62 my first year. And I thought that was great money. Obviously now that's not, but the 100,000, you're going to see more and more companies. They'll probably start you in the 60s as a base, high 50s. And then with your bonuses and commissions, you'll get right around that 100 number. So there's tons and tons of small companies out there. You don't have to just look at Stryker and Medtronic.
Yeah, unfortunately, 100K in at least New Jersey is like you're still poor.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. But Joe, that's all I got for you today.
Thank you. Well, guys, thank you for the questions. James, thanks for fielding all those.
Of course.
And again, guys, the whole point that I want to convey in this is that don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Don't let that be the reason why you quit. All right. If you fully want this, and these are the individuals that I really want to talk to, the ones that really want this, we can help you. All right. I'm just giving you small little drops in the bucket. We don't have enough time, again, to give you a full training on how to really break in from start to finish. That's what the RepPath Academy is for. I'm not sugarcoating it. I want you guys to join. I want you to be a part of it because we can help you get in and stop that frustration and aggravation that makes you want to quit. So please go to reppath.com, sign up. You know, if you want, you reach out to me, send me a DM on LinkedIn. You know, I can answer any questions that you may not have full clarity on, but we want to get you signed up because this is just a little snippet, guys. We can help you get past all the competition and stand out. And lastly, guys, again, if you want a recording of this, go to Unfiltered Medical Sales Coaching on YouTube, subscribe. Again, it's fully free. For all you individuals that are lobby members, when you reach out to me, please give the promo code Licata, Licata. You see it there at the bottom of the screen, and I'll be able to give you additional discounts. So again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. Again, we'll be here every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if I don't talk to you any guys, I'll see you next Monday. Have a great week. Take care.